Hello! I didn't feel like writing a script this week because I haven't been feeling great. So now I'm just gonna force Azura to sit down and talk with me.
Hi, I'm here to talk.
Yeah, if you don't know, Azura is the person that I forced to do a bunch of, puppet acting in my videos.
I'm an actor.
Yeah, and in return, they get to burn my world with their Diluc and Venti.
I get paid exposure, right?
Yes. So the reason we are here today is to discuss some problems with the way that MiHoYo has developed this game so far. And in essence, the way that they are making a lot of brick walls around what the game is able to do.
Yes. Yes.
It's a good way of wording it.
I think that's probably the best way to word it.
Yeah. So, first, because I have talking points, I will openly admit that. So, the first talking point that we're going to talk about, because it will not turn into a giant rant on some of our parts, is the way that new players are not going to be encouraged to play the game very soon because of the summons.
Oh, you went for a good one.
Yeah.
For the first bit. So
Yeah. So obviously, with every new area that gets unlocked, as people are already starting to see, there's very high limitations on if you can use the characters you get.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was under the assumption up until yesterday that they were only going to get to 20, and I was so helpfully reminded, no, they could get to 40.
They can get to 40 only if you do it during the trial run.
Yes, for the regional specialties, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was saying 20, I was thinking the boss drops.
Yeah, but you don't need it in the first one. The boss drops come in the second one.
The boss ones don't come till the second part. Which, I mean, if you're pulling the character, you probably have done the test run, unless you're really, really new to the game.
Yeah.
And don't know to do it.
I'm thinking of new players that get the 4-star characters, not necessarily the 5-star characters with the trial banners.
Yeah.
Later on down the line, right now, if someone pulls the Sarah thing, if you pull her now, you can't get her past 20 until you get into Inazuma.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even think of that, because they do get put into the standard banner rotation after after the patch is finished, or after their...
I think it's right away. I think it was with Seiyu at least.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. So yeah, if I were to roll a new account and I managed to pull them from the ever-growing number of 4-stars that I can't get, yeah,
it's just Kaya.
It's just Kaya. You really would be stuck with them at 40, and I mean, I guess...
No, even then you wouldn't be stuck with them at 40. Because it's after the trial run.
After the trial run, so you get them to 20. But, I mean, having them stuck at 20 would be a bit of a problem. It's been so long since I've been at those world levels, and I'm pretty sure you needed, world level 35 or something in the 30s to get to Inazuma. So I don't know what that relates to in terms of your actual, character level. I could have looked it up on the wiki, but
we could have done a lot to prepare for this, but you didn't even know we were doing this tonight, so...
So, I feel like there's a little bit of a gap, but I can also see that gap getting much worse if not covered sooner. We're gonna go to a new place. That new place is gonna end up with, adventure level, or
40.
adventure rank, whatever, 40, in order to get there, and all of a sudden you just can't get this stuff. I feel like that's something they're going to need to change, like I said, sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a brick wall that is being made that they need to figure out how to stop.
And I mean, it's a brick wall that they're making for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost a flaw of their own design. It was fine when you could literally just walk down the winery road and just get into Liyue and be like, hey, I'm fine now, I'm in Liyue. But now with Inazuma, you can't.
Yeah, and you can't even argue that the standard default banner was just where you're going to have to pull until then, because A, that's not going to encourage new players to join if they can only use one banner, and B, the 4 stars are all in that banner.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of them, so, I mean, right now your chances of getting a character you can't get stuff for is kind of more on the slim side, because getting a character in general is on the slim side, but it's still a possibility, and I think if I was coming in as a new player and I got a character and I was told, oh no, you can't level this character up until you're adventure rank 35, and you've somehow made it into, like, the depths of whatever place you need to be to get the stuff, I would be a little bit disheartened, especially if I, like, really liked the character and wanted to play as them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how they would fix that with the current system, unless...
Yeah. They have to rehaul the current system.
Like, you couldn't do a commission-based thing like we have with some of, like, the foodstuffs and the ores and stuff, because you have to be there in order to get them.
Mm-hmm.
So, they'd have to rehaul it, or think of a way of giving specific, like, talent level up stuff.
Yeah. That's why I think if they rehaul the wish system and make it so that there is a banner for every location, and then you'll unlock the new locations as you enter those places.
Yeah, like you get to Inazuma and then it's like, congratulations, here's your Inazuma banner. I think that could work. Because otherwise you could have people who pull on banners that they don't, of locations they don't have access to.
Yeah.
And I think that would also help current players too, trying to fish for that specific constellation that they want for 4 stars at that minimum.
And they can even put the weapons that just disappear into those banners.
That's what I was going to say next. Like, the weapons have location bases in them too, right? Based on where they come from and what weapon material they need. So, it would solve some of the problems, and then if you just have this weird fated always pull Mondstadt characters, it would just work out better for you.
You can get your Kaya.
I can get my...
Your very biased thing, which I would like to say now, I have set us in the Mondstadt house, in the Mondstadt area, specifically so you would feel more at home.
I didn't really even notice the Liyue banners stood out to me. Maybe it's because they didn't blend in with my Mondstadt.
I had to cover up the door back there somehow, and then that just looked out of place.
It's I do feel more at home. I think if this was a Liyue thing, I'd probably be a little more skittish, but I feel more at home.
Definitely has nothing to do with the fact that I do not want to overhaul my entire house in-game.
No, nothing like that. No. Nothing.
Okay, now I think would be a good time to transition to what you are going to seemingly rant about, because every time we've talked about this, you have. The brick wall that is going around players who have reached AR 50-55.
Oh.
And above.
Oh, you mean one of my biggest gripes with the game.
Yes, your current biggest gripe with the game.
Yay! So, I guess I'll take the explanation on that one.
Go ahead.
So, at least to me, it really does feel like once you get to AR 50, maybe, but mostly the higher ones, like AR 53.
You weren't taking notes as you were playing to record your enjoyment?
No. I found that once you reached the level cap of 90 and you had at least a team of 90s and you were adventure rank 50 to 55 and higher, you really didn't have any content. You had nothing to do. You can keep building characters to 90, which I think is their intention. But once you get to that point, what is the point? I pulled on a couple of the banners, had a couple of the new 4 stars, and then looked at them and went, great, now what do I do with you? This took me, maybe a week to do, because I have just the surplus of money. I have surplus of experience. I have a surplus of everything because I have nothing really to do with it, to use it on. So if you're not leveling your characters, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're exploring. What happens when you've already explored everything? It is a self-made problem in that, you're supposed to explore things slowly. That's how MiHoYo intends for you to do it. But I don't want to be like casual bragging, but I was casually exploring in Azuma and ended up at 100%. And
casually.
And just walking down the street and like going, oh look, I put 100% in this area.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like searching out the treasures or the puzzles or whatever. I was just picking them up as I found them. And I think I only really looked for stuff when I was at 99% and went, oh, come on. But like, we're in the middle of a patch, and I have no characters I want to upgrade. I have nothing left to explore, and my event is right now the Spectre event. So I go and beat up six Spectres, and then go back to Catherine and say, okay, send my people out in whatever crappy party I feel like sending them out on. And there we go. I'm done. I'm done for the day. And this is the kind of game I want to put my time into. I've been playing it for almost a year. Like, I want to keep playing it, but there's nothing.
Yeah. And even, like, the Abyss is technically supposed to be that endgame content, but when you think about it realistically, you can do it once per however many patches?
I think it's
however
twice.
Many weeks?
I think it's twice.
Yeah.
It's like once per banner roll, I think. And just making content difficult and making content hard is not a replacement for some sort of permanent content that people can just keep going off of.
Yeah.
Like, you can have your Abyss be difficult because there are weird people who follow the meta of this game and decided that these characters are the best, and if you don't get 36 stars in the Abyss, then you're somehow a lesser player. But
watch your words. I'm the one who has to deal with the comments hates.
But I mean, it's a single player game. There doesn't have to be any sort of difficulty curve in terms of like a grading to it.
Yeah.
Because you're really only challenging yourself at that point, and there are probably a bunch of people out there who don't care. Like,
that's me.
Well, exactly. Like, you don't get much enjoyment out of doing the Abyss outside of the 150
Not even
freemogems you can get for the 3 stars.
Oh yeah, no, you can't get 150 free. It's 50 per star.
Yeah.
So if I'm good enough with my supports.
So like, there isn't anything else, and there's nothing really like in a game that's trying to push for its co-op stuff, and I'm assuming it's pushing for the co-op stuff with like the Wind Trace Festival thing.
It was the Wind Trace event. That was the hide and seek one.
Yeah, and a bunch of the other events. Not so much the newer ones, but some of the ones from the past patches.
Yeah, the one with the flower in the Cryoregivane in the Albedo storyline.
Yes,
that was co-op.
Yeah, that was co-op. Like, there's tons of examples of ones where they're doing forced co-op. So you would think outside of events that there would be and I guess you could say domains. I think maybe we just don't consider that because we usually just do them together.
I mean, it is co-op, Azura. We do it in co-op.
Yes, but those only last 3 minutes at most?
Our average time is like 1 minute 30 seconds, I'll say.
Noblesse oblige.
Our average time is 10 minutes 50 seconds, I'd say.
It's there. I feel like there should be something more permanent. Yeah.
Sorry. Speaking of domains, though, I had a thought about that the other day. Once you reach level 90 and you stop unlocking domain floors, it's the exact same fight constantly.
Yes.
Like, if they just even have variety in domains.
Having a random domain thing, it would not be a bad thing to do. And honestly, after doing domains so many times, just walking into the same room, hitting F on a key, battling the same enemies, and then walking up to a tree and getting the same crap that you always get, even with condensed resin. Like, when you really sit down and look at, I got to AR 56, which is what we're at now, what exactly are my benefits?
Yeah.
I don't have any, right? Like, the expeditions, those rewards have been the same rewards since day one. I have not had an upgrade in those whatsoever.
Yeah.
You get pretty much the same stuff from the leyline blossoms. You're not...
Yeah. I think we're world level 8, world level 7, whichever one is the max one right now. And 8. And I remember when I was having trouble with the event once and I lowered it to the 7, and there was no difference. There's literally no difference between 7 and 8.
It doesn't feel like it. I think when I looked it up, when I was considering putting my world level up the first time, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly just the upgrade and awards from the bosses, and the bosses being higher, but I could be misremembering, and it's been a bit.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like there's a point to it.
No, it doesn't feel like there's a point to this being a higher level. There's no benefit. And even the awards that you get when you get to the higher adventure rank, like how long did it take us to get to 56?
Oh, I'm not at 56 yet, am I?
You should be at 56.
Am I 56? I think I'm 56.
You should be 56.
It doesn't matter anymore. I don't care, because what do I even get from it? Like, you're almost at the next one, and I misheard you today and thought you were 5 points away. And I was like, well, what does it even matter if you reach it today? Because you're not going to get anything in your reward.
No, I'm going to get the one fate, and, you
mean your one debate club?
My debate club. Excuse me, it's going to be a black tassel.
Oh, my bad.
Oh no, I got one of those today, so maybe not. But it's this almost a depressing situation when you realize that you've spent hours and hours and hours and hours to get to this point, and then you're just going to get a 3-star that you're not even really going to acknowledge, and you're just going to shove in another weapon in 3 months' time.
Yeah.
I may as well have gone and opened a random treasure chest at that point. Like, there's no benefit to being a higher world level. There's no benefit to making more characters up at 90 because it's the level cap, especially if you're already clearing the event content. You don't need to keep building characters. What am I left to do is basically my question. Go fishing? There's no point in fishing right now.
No point in fishing. Even the housing, like I said earlier, I did this because it's literally the only thing I can do with my housing right now. This whole set I did just because I wanted to do something in the house again.
Yeah. I want to do stuff in my house, but really all I feel like I'm using it for is holding my party members hostage so that I can just walk in and be reminded that these are the people I use every day, right?
Yeah, just to make sure that DeLuke doesn't get back to the guild or the Dawn Winery, you gotta keep him hostage in the teapot.
Yeah. I don't want him to try and escape.
You worked so hard on that trap to get him.
I really did. It scored me a Venti at the same time, so I mean, hey.
Woo! So yeah, but we sometimes talked about a possible solution that they could have with like a randomly generated dungeon.
So I think this game would benefit from a procedurally generated dungeon or something along those lines. They have the assets, it just in the domains that we've seen in the character quests So we know that they have assets for that, and environmental traps and stuff like that, which would definitely work.
The spikes in the water.
Yeah, the spikes in the water. You know, those things that I reminded you about.
Yeah, you were like, oh yeah, they forgot about those spikes in the water. I'm like, what are you talking about? In Kaya's dungeon! Which, of course, you remembered Kaya's dungeon.
I mean...
How many times do you replay it?
I can replay them?
I don't know if you can. That was a joke.
Don't get my hopes up. But they have these environmental hazards, which would be a key part of a procedurally generated dungeon.
And even outside of the domains, like some of the events we did, the one I can't remember the name of, where you got trial characters and you ran around.
Yeah!
That would be great, and then they got the mini games that you could also throw in.
Yeah, like, there are tons of options that we have seen them use in event stuff, so we know the assets exist. And it wouldn't be hard to limit the characters that you can bring in. I mean, it's a very fine line with that one, because there are going to be people who have a bunch of the characters that you select for, say, that week, or say that day. But then there's going to be some who don't have those.
Yeah. I mean, they could provide, like, a trial version of said character, and then if you have that character, you can bring them in instead, and you have, like, the choice and stuff.
Yeah.
Which would also entice people to try out different characters, so when you do a banner rerun of a 5-star, they want that character.
Yeah, the one that we just did, the fighting event, which I thought was one of the best combat events they've done in a long time, that would work, that system would work really, really well with that. And I was thinking more of a risk-reward factor, where we've seen them use the in those boss events where you turn on things, turn off things, make things harder, where you could make us pick the rewards we want, and, you know, if you make it something like artifacts, you can do, if you want a critical rate something, okay, great, now you have to fight some of the harder versions of enemies we can come up with. Fight the giant shield hilly churls without a fire character. Like, some really stupid challenge thing.
Here's the Geo-Hypo-Bishop, or whatever the giant lizard is actually called, because I just call him giant lizard, but you can't use any shields.
Yeah, it's something completely crazy, and, you know, off the wall to make players think, because at that point you're looking at the high-end characters, or for specifically what I'm thinking would be catering to the high-end people, of just, you've been playing the game long enough, you can figure out how to get past the weird, wonky, like, restrictions we're gonna put on things.
Like, you could technically unlock after doing Chapter 9 of that little Adventurer's Handbook.
Yeah!
And that could give you an actual reason to strive to finish it, because otherwise you finish it and you're like, well, I'm done, what now? I liked the Adventurer's Handbook. It made me feel like I had a goal, and now that I'm wandering aimlessly in the world, I wish I had one. Yeah! When it was there before, it was just like this convenient thing that we could just do whenever, and now we don't have it, and we go, oh man, I wish I had another chapter. Yeah. But they're not going to give us one, because they forgot about it. But I think a procedurally generated something that is permanent in the game, could be co-op, could not be, whatever, and where we can pick what our rewards are. What artifacts we want, what artifact set we want, what substat we want, because honestly, the artifact grind is just so bad. Yeah. And even if they didn't want to give artifacts, like, they could have, like, just those little sigil things that you get for the different areas, because what do you do with them at the end of the day other than in Azuma? You go to a shop and you exchange them for money. Yeah. And yes, it's, when you think about it, not a giant reward, but it'll at least feel like you've accomplished something. Yes. It'll help, especially when you've got new characters and you've got a bunch of new characters, and you just really need that extra mora, but maybe they're not integral to your party, or maybe they are just characters you want to try using. You don't feel like you have to hoard these resources, because it takes so many resources to level somebody up.
But I think...
But then you get to 90 and you got the stock hold, and it's just like, well, what do I care?
Exactly. I mean, I look at it now and go, I could level up this character, but do I want to? Am I going to use
It's your RPG thing coming up. You spent too many years of hoarding your Omega elixirs.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's my problem. I just need to stop hoarding my stuff. But
yeah. I mean, I'm at the same problem too, and I don't store my stuff.
Yeah.
It just took me longer to get to the problem.
Yeah. Where I've been sitting at it for a couple months, maybe a month or two now.
You haven't really had a new character technically since Kazuma because nobody's interested you, and now you're waiting for Toma because he's another Mondstadt character.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yeah, don't know what you're talking about. It's not Toma from Mondstadt. It's fine. So, yeah, I really like this game, and I really wish I could spend more time on it. And I understand there's the argument of it being it's supposed to be for casual players, but in essence, it's a gacha game, and a gacha game wants you to keep playing it.
Yeah, it doesn't want casual players.
It as much as a casual player can pick it up and do their dailies and be done with it, and then play another game on the side or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's also this level of you want people to keep playing your game.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm technically a casual player. It wouldn't look like it based off how deeply I jump into the lore and try to make theories off things. But when I actually, play the game, it's very casual.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of reading and going off theories, so my mind will be quiet for once.
It's, I remember back when I first entered into Leeway, I did the storyline as kind of a casual, I sauntered into the quest this time. Guess I'm just gonna do it.
Until I started yelling at you because I wanted to rant about Zhongli.
And,
hey, isn't that what happened with Inazuma too?
Yes, it is. But I remember having the most fun when I was just running around the world and just being in it and having a reason, running around with my treasure compass and trying to find all the little hidden things that they could do. And I get to Inazuma and that same joy is there, but then it's just something there's missing. There's something not
the puzzles are very obvious. Not in the solutions are obvious because they've got that one stupid math problem, which I still don't understand how the solution is supposed to work. I had a spreadsheet as I was trying to figure it out, and then I looked up the answers and I put them into the spreadsheet and I'm like, no, this did not calculate correctly. But, maybe I just misunderstood the rules. I don't know. But the thing was, within Azuma, you rounded a corner and you're like, well, there's a puzzle and there's a puzzle and there's a puzzle. Whereas with Mondstadt or Leeway, they were more hidden away, so, even if you search through an area, when you come back later, you're like, holy crap, there's a puzzle! That's
true. I do remember, I'd explored everywhere that I wanted to explore, and I was sitting at 87%, 90% of the areas, and I went and found, because it was pre-Tevat interactive map, looking up hidden treasures in Mondstadt, and having to go to sets of torches and lighting them up.
Mm-hmm. The rule of 3 that you told me about because I could not find anything. It doesn't apply anymore.
No, the rule of 3, that's at least what I've coined it, it doesn't apply. And normally when it does apply, because they're mean in MiHoYo, it means that one of them is just going to be a whooper flower, so you just avoid it.
Yeah.
And you just, which plant am I talking to today?
Yeah.
And I do like that aspect of it, where you walk up and go, one of you is suspicious, but it also kind of takes away a little bit too. So those are the times I had the most fun with the game. And again, I didn't mean to explore Inazuma to 100%. I just
It
stumbled on it.
Because of the layers, I feel like it seems shorter.
Maybe.
Because realistically, and also the way that they, even though they gave it out tiny bits at a time, realistically doing that makes it feel smaller.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And then because it's the islands and the different layers, you just... It's compact, it's tiny. So when you explore one area, you are also inadvertently investigating 3 areas.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna notice if something's below you.
I think the furnace is probably the best example of that, because while you're exploring inside that one, like, town section that's inside of it, you are looking out at the top, if you're at the top, or you're looking down and seeing, oh, there's this treasure chest, or oh, there's this puzzle thing there, or oh yeah, there's the mirror maiden to avoid. You see it, and you just kind of make a mental note of it, or you run right over and grab it. So, yeah, I can see that definitely being part of the problem.
The only people that I think that the multiple layers really affects to make it harder for them to investigate are the people who are directionally and unable to find anywhere challenged. People who get lost really easily. Yeah.
Don't know who that would be.
Definitely me.
Yeah.
By the way, this was all a ploy. I'm gonna go back to my world. Can you leave me out of Inazuma?
Great. Now that we're done talking, can you help me out of Inazuma?
I am lost.
Why don't you teleport? Oh yeah.
Your map is upside down, and this isn't even a map of Inazuma.
Oh, I thought that was weird.
I kept looking for the statue of Venti, and I couldn't find it.
Why would I want to go to anything but Venti? Animo is the best.
Well, I thank you.
I like how I say that. I'm definitely an Animo person, but I'm sitting here as Barbara.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
She worships torpedoes. It's close enough.
That's true.
She's an honorary Animo person.
Asterix.
Is Hydro, but it would do anything for Animo. Okay. The last thing that I had that I want to mention specifically because I went and made a little graphic for it and I'm realizing it doesn't really fit into what we want to talk about.
That's okay.
But I'm gonna do it anyways.
Nothing else has been...
So, on this little graphic that I made, the yellow line and the thing that looks professional is what is apparently the spending of the characters. Like, people have bought, at least in China, for the characters.
Yes, I have seen the graphic.
I will, just for the record, link the graphic down, not the graphic, but like the Reddit post that I found it on in the description. I don't remember the person who made it off the top of my head, but go them!
Yeah, I don't think this is officially
No, I
released.
don't
I think
it's
somebody
official.
just made it.
But I looked at a bunch of the things that people have made, so unless it's all like one lie that they're agreeing on, it's close enough. I accept the fiction.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
The black line that is crudely brought on there is the how many freemogems they have given out through events only.
Okay.
And so I was trying to see if the amount of free primogems that they gave out affected how much people bought.
Oh, okay. So, like, the amount spent, and then...
Yeah, because
How many,
obviously
or-
they aren't... See, because here's the thing, I realized also while doing this, it feels to us, and at least now, definitely there is a dip, as you can see on the black illustration, we're currently in a bit of a dip. But, we also don't have the exploration and stuff to make us get more primogems, so we feel like it's dried out.
Yeah.
Because all we can do, except for buying, is to do the events now.
Yes.
So we're relying on them. So there is that level, but then also, obviously, there is the, how much they give. So, did it affect if people were willing to buy? And I don't think it did. Interestingly enough, I thought that, it showed that if they gave more, people were more willing to spend.
I can definitely see that being a thing.
Like with the Venti and Hutao, they were in the same update together.
Yes.
They didn't have as much, but the next update was Venti, and people were willing to spend a lot.
Zhao and Hotel? I thought you said Venti and Hotel, but
No, I might have said Venti. Zhao and...
I do think that this is a very interesting, like, representation. Because it does almost sort of match, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems when they know that they're going to release a character that they know people will want to pull on, they start releasing a little bit more. I think the exception there is maybe the Klee one.
Yeah, but that was at the very beginning of the game.
That was at the very beginning of the game. And I think it's also very interesting that Tartaglia hit, like, almost the exact same point.
Yeah, well, he also both times came before a giant spike. Like, the Venti rerun is the third highest, and then the Klee is the second highest, and both times they were like, hey, let's put Tartaglia out.
Yeah, poor guy.
So, I mean, not as bad as Kokomi.
Oh, Kokomi.
But he definitely got, like, a little bit of the bad end, which maybe that's why they're doing a third rerun, maybe?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they feel like they've just handed him the short end of the
They're
stick.
like, okay, Kokomi's doing terribly, release the Tartaglia.
Release Tartaglia, he'll fix it, right?
He'll finally get a chance, right?
I think it's... Honestly, I was more willing to pay for Primogems during the Tartaglia rerun, because I did want Tartaglia.
Mm-hmm.
So I did pay a little bit into it, and then I think I had Welcome Moon a little bit too.
Yeah.
To try and get it, because it was very frustrating that I tried to get him, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if it was 50-50 that killed it, or what exactly.
I think you just had really bad luck with pulls.
That could have been it. So I had to pay, like, I paid for the Primogems to do it, and then I still didn't get him. So I had the Welcome Moon stuff to get him, and I think just as that was about to run out,
Yeah.
maybe.
You got it at the very end.
I got him at the very, very end. And
I know, because I was sitting there the entire time panicking, like, please, I didn't mean to pull him.
And it was really kind of depressing, actually.
Yeah.
That, like, I paid for them and I still didn't get the character I wanted, but I was also getting a bunch of free ones at the same time. So my willingness to pay into a game that I was willing to commit to, because I, at the time, was willing to commit, maybe not 10 plus years, weird roadmap, but I was willing to pay into it, right?
Yeah.
It was I had gotten so much out of the game so far that I was willing to pay
Yeah.
whatever it was that I ended up paying. Is a good job. Thanks for keeping me interested. And I hadn't...
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was going to say, I haven't had a reason to pull again.
Mm-hmm.
Or try to buy again. But given the current situation and the current...
Yeah.
I don't necessarily mean lack of freemogems, but just the game in general, the state of the game in general, I don't know if I'd be willing to pay.
Okay, what I was going to say is, like, there have been 3 times where I wanted the 5-star character on the banner, and then I didn't get them from the freemogems, that, if you want to call it that. And that was the Albedo, the Kazuha, and the Kokomi. Now, with the Albedo, that's when we first started playing, and it is such a huge spike there that when we started playing, like, as much as it's a dip on his banner, you also have to consider that that's not including Dragon Spine Exploration as well. But, we started playing at this one really high point where Tartaglia and Zhongli, that one. So when we started playing and I wanted Albedo, it felt okay to be like, yeah, I'll give make you give money at that point for the game because I really want this character and it seems like a good company and it seems willing to do that. The other character was Kazuha, which he came after one of the lowest points.
Yeah.
And I paid a little bit, but at the end I was like, it's just not worth it. Because I didn't see a reason. I didn't have as much trust. And now with Kokomi, I don't want to buy at all because the anniversary stuff and everything. I'm like, this game, it's not showing that the development team has the love that I assumed it did.
It's definitely lacking the polish that it had before. And most of the issues that I think we've mentioned throughout, they're not new.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem, is that they're not new and they still haven't been fixed. And we're almost into a year of playtime, of being in development. It feels like, I mean, it's easy to forget that in a weird sense, this is an early access.
Yeah, it is.
And the fact that they're making this kind of money on early access, sort of kind of early access, it's a gacha game with an MMO style, so it's not necessarily early access, but it's a single-player experience, so it kind of is.
This game is a weird mixture of every genre, and then they threw in PlayStation 2 era fishing.
It's now a JRPG, guys. It's these kind of things where you look at it and go, okay, they could be fixed, but it's been a year and the resin system hasn't been addressed. This new...
I will say before we started playing, the resin was at 120 and then they upped it to 160.
Yes. But did it help?
It's still got the mobile game essence to it and you can't kick off the mobile players. Azura, no. Azura, no.
Fine, we'll keep them around.
Will, as if we are in charge.
Yeah, it's... What development changes have we seen? And people have been reporting these endgame issues for a while. People have been asking for changes to the resin system for a while. Like, I've been on the subreddit for pretty much as long as we've been playing the game.
Yeah.
You're willing to go through it? I am not.
And I have seen posts for both sides, right? Resin system's great, the resin system's not great. And I'm kind of in this weird gray area depending on what I'm trying to do, where when I have nothing to do, the resin system is fine, whatever, but if I'm trying to build my whatever character I've decided, it gets in the way.
Which I can see the resin system as being a way to try and delay people from getting to the brick wall that is being a veteran player. It just delays it for a period of time, but now they're reaching a point where you can't, there is no more delaying, we're here.
You can only delay the inevitable for so long, and they didn't do anything to delay it further, or to prevent it from happening.
They didn't work on the wall. They were just like, we've got a prevention system. For a while, it's fine.
It's fine. It'll be great. They'll keep building their characters with the crappiest RNG that you've ever seen.
That'll keep them in place.
That'll keep them busy. I think the RNG in this game is one of its biggest flaws, in my opinion.
But it is a gacha game. I feel like they can't really get rid of the RNG elements.
No, there are things they could do to ease it a little bit, but
yeah.
As much as I would like this to be a single-player experience where I can just go in and get the gear that I want, like a normal MMO, sort of.
A single-player MMO.
Isn't that what this game is?
Yeah, it's true.
Where you walk into a raid and get whatever drop that you want, right? Like, high tier raids, you do have to work on a gacha system anyway, but eventually, after doing how many hours of artifact grinding, you'd think you'd get one hat that you like.
No. I wasn't even being picky. I just didn't want... I just wanted a cryo set hat. Would have been fine with a 4-star.
What?
Yeah, I was that desperate.
I think just the way these flaws aren't being addressed.
Yeah.
It is one thing, but I love this game and I want to keep playing this game, but I'm not seeing the point in putting in my time and effort. I guess.
Yeah, no, I get that completely.
I think the only reason I'm so upset about it and rant about it pretty much daily is because I want it to be better.
We see the brick wall coming and we're trying to hit the brakes, but they didn't make brakes in this car. And we don't want to hit the brick wall because we don't want to die.
Yes. I don't want to get to the point where I log in and I just log out and it'll be like the last time I log out. Especially not after a year. Like, it's only been a year, right?
There's so much story and I want to know what that story unfolds. I'm interested in the plot and there are a lot of characters that I love so much. But at the same time, the world is crumbling around them and I'm like desperately trying to glue it together.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot here, and there's a lot of stuff to appeal to a wide variety of people, but there's no focus, there's no going back to the roots of the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, Inazuma is fun to explore, was fun to explore. Everywhere else was fun to explore, but I have this feeling that once we move on to a new region, are we gonna go back to Inazuma, or
do we go back to Liyue? Do we go back to Mondstadt at this point?
well, I go back to Mondstadt.
You go back to Mondstadt because you're biased. I have not gone to Liyue except to buy some rice and some shrimp.
Actually, I went back to Liyue today. I had a commission there.
Oh no, we did. We did our gold things.
Oh,
today,
we beat up Child. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's the only reason.
The only reason to go there is to
Beat up Child.
beat up Child.
But like that's what I mean. And obviously, with the 10-year plan, we are eventually going to have to go back to those locations. Because if not, then they're gonna run out of places to put us real quick.
So just make another Golden Apple Archipelago. It'll disappear in a month! Have fun!
But right now, it feels like we're very disconnected, which could be because Inazuma is technically disconnected.
We are feeling what the traveler feels. MiHoYo is actually brilliant!
And we're feeling disheartened because the traveler's feeling disheartened.
Oh my god.
We get nothing for the anniversary because the traveler's being spit on as we speak.
It all makes sense now. It
has nothing to do with them being like, Barbara is the waifu. We have to make 3D broadcast posters of Barbara.
I mean, isn't that where the budget went?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, back to your point, I guess. If they gave me more freemogems, would I be willing to pay? Maybe. But there's a lot of other things going on that make me a bit less likely to pay.
Yeah.
And I mean, once all of this dies down and what's done is done, is that going to be enough to make me decide to go back to paying? I don't know.
I think it's interesting too. It's not on the graphic that we're seeing, but the point that the social media changed was the Golden Archipelago. It was June 25th, 2021 when it switched over. I went on the Wayback Machine to figure out exactly when they switched it from Paimon to Genshin Impact. Yep. And it is on the later half from Klee onwards. And those are not the lowest. I mean, some of them are the lowest.
Yeah.
But that's like pretty low, nowhere near the highest.
Low in comparison.
There is only 2 that are higher than a point before the other one, not including the beginning when they were still... Like, 1.0, 1.1 is obviously a gray area where they're just like, we're still making the game.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I count that so much.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like practices have changed.
Yeah.
And it feels like things that we had seen before have changed.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been no real communication about why or how.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we need to be given like a bajillion freemogems and then maybe I'll buy stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like
Yeah.
things have changed.
Even considering the purchase history of like the how much people are willing to spend, not including the Raiden Shogun, because she pulls a sword out of her chest, people are going to buy her. They're all some of the lowest ones, not including Tartaglia, who kept getting at the end of giant ones. Like, besides that, and technically the Kuching one, which was like, what is that banner even?
Yeah.
You can go get the one that you can get from the standard banner again. They're all the lowest ones.
Is she even on this list?
No, she is not on this list. She was so low that they didn't count her.
I'm so sorry. I didn't know that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, because you can get it from the
standard
normal
banner.
banner.
I do remember saying that when the banner came out.
I was like, what the heck is this?
Now, if it was a Diluc banner, no.
Well, if it was someone from Mondstadt, that would have been entirely different.
Going back to that one, like, if you lost the 50-50, would you even know? Like, do you even know? But, yeah. I don't know if there's a correlation. I mean, there probably is, because there's always going to be those people who want to get the C6 of every 5-star literally ever, which...
The ones that are very rich and can afford that?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be spending that much money personally, and maybe I'm not the target audience.
I don't think I'm going to spend that much personally on one thing in my life. Like, I feel like that would cost even more than a mortgage in this economy.
In this economy? But it's hard, right? Like, what of the top 3 being Klee, Venti, and the Raiden Shogun, what pulled people to pull?
Venti is a key icon of the game. Klee was the bombs and like the second biggest the second character to be released. At that point, people were actually playing.
Yeah.
And the Raiden Shogun, as I already mentioned, pulls a sword out of her chest.
It's not enough people.
For some people, it is. Some people are interested in the female body for certain reasons.
I mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask about, like...
I'm not asking which characters you want for the aesthetic.
Aesthetic. Are they from Mondstadt? Qualifying questions. But what I was saying was I'm probably not the best person to ask, like, what amount of freemogems do you need in order to pay, considering I haven't really done much in the way of pulling because I am waiting for specific characters.
Waiting for specific characters. You didn't even know Toma existed before you stopped pulling.
No, but so I stopped pulling. Now I have to justify this one. I stopped pulling. I got Kazuha, and I said, okay, I'm good. I'm gonna wait till the next banner, and then Ayaka came out. And Ayaka came out when we went to Inazuma, which I had met Toma by then.
Yeah, you didn't know if he was a character.
He had a vision, I just assumed. I even said
did.
it didn't matter. He had a coin flip.
Which reminded you of Kaya.
Kaya.
You said that.
Shush. He had a coin flip, he had cool boots, his outfit was cool, and he had a nice personality.
I was like, I wasn't looking there.
And the footwear of your characters is important. And I went, man, I really hope I can pull for a Toma. And then I wasn't interested in any of the characters up until that point. So it was really convenient. But now my Primogems are just my Toma fun. So...
There. Yes.
Which I think is another thing that has to be considered is they give out the freemogems, and some people do store them.
Yeah.
Like, Ayaka was leaked pretty early on, before a lot of these characters on this list were even announced and put out there.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm imagining, from what I know, there were a lot of people who had, like, a set amount that they were like, this is specifically for Ayaka. I'm not going to buy, or like, I'll buy for other characters, I'll do all this stuff, but this is set for Ayaka, and that's why she's probably lower-ish on the list, because there were probably the people who really wanted her already saved up for her.
Yeah, and then they managed to pull her with the stored up ones, which, I mean, is part of the, I'm not sure how to phrase it, right? Like, people are saving for characters that they don't 100% know exist, or 100% know are going to come out yet. And is that digging into their bottom line? Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
That's why you shouldn't do leaks. Also, you're gonna get sued. Please don't.
Yeah, please don't. We don't want you getting sued, but if you could give me more information on Toma.
You never cared about leaks until Toma.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You don't care about any leaks outside of Toma, Io.
Yeah, no, I really don't.
You
No,
learned he
that's
was
not
from
true.
Mondstadt, and you were just like, I need to know everything about him.
That was before the Mondstadt reveal, thank you very
Was
much.
it?
Yes.
No, I'm pretty sure it was after.
No, because remember, I was like, hey, I want to pull for Toma, it's going to be great, and then they released the thing, and I went, great, he's from Mondstadt.
Yeah, no, I knew you wanted Toma before that. I thought you started being like, well, what are the leaks after he was revealed that he was from Mondstadt?
Oh, no, I always wanted to know what he was. But that's also... I mean, the leaks are a whole other issue that I don't think we really need
Not
to
getting into here. We're gonna wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
But would people, use their free Primogems more often if they knew characters were coming? Maybe, because there are people who pull for a character's aesthetic. There's people who pull for a character's playstyle. There's people who don't pull on characters for those same reasons, right?
Yeah.
So,
I don't want an ugly person in my party. You don't have the right aesthetic. Get the hell out. Rosaria.
She is just one of those characters that I really want to play, but God, why did they make that costume that way?
Don't worry, I'm sure she'll definitely get a costume. And it'll be 10 times worse.
I was gonna say, anything they release after this is probably gonna be 10 times worse, and I'm not gonna get any benefit. Which, are they going to release other costumes?
Who knows?
But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
I think what they're doing now, where they said, hey, look, here's Toma. If they did it with more characters, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I'm not saying we need to know who's going to be on every single banner for the next 6 months. But a heads up as to who our new characters would be. Especially now that we're done, specifically within Azuma, we're done with the storyline as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
Like, the Archon quest has concluded, so we're really only looking at events, world quests, stuff like that, where, maybe it doesn't matter if we know.
It was gonna be like random Joe Smoes like a Eula, who had nothing to do with the storyline, but lives in the place and has a vision. So now you're friends with her.
So now you know who she is. Congratulations.
Can't wait for like the 10th year. One of the last characters is just like, oh yeah, it's this person who had a vision the entire time from Mondstadt. And you're like, what?
What?
I mean, we know random NPCs have visions according to the Vision Hunt Decree quest, so, you know, why don't we just get random NPC 56 to be one of our playable characters?
That's just their name, too.
Yeah, that's just their name, and then you can just hide in people's towns. Like, you just... Their only passive talent is they don't have that, like, player 1, player 2 diamond. They just stand there.
They change their appearance every time you turn into them. Like,
Yeah.
they've got no skills, no nothing. It's
basically a troll, I guess.
And you're like, I know they're around here somewhere.
So, I mean, like I said, specifically for Inazuma, it would make a little bit of sense to say, here are some of the characters. You don't have to give us all of them. Just
Let you know if you're gonna get Goru.
please.
And let you know how he's connected to Mondstadt.
Oh god. They're just gonna import them now.
I can't wait for it to be like some weird things of like, he was born in Mondstadt, but then got adopted by someone from Inazuma.
just randomly.
Or he's like, you know what, I'm done with the resistance, I'm gonna move to Mondstadt. Now I'm pullable.
Welcome to Shneznaya. By the way, here's this Mondstadt person. Weird. So, I think stuff like that, and even for a new region, right? Like, you can say, here's the Archon, because
You're gonna meet them.
you're gonna meet them.
And presumably you're not gonna try and do the same thing you did with Zhongli, where you're like, who's the Archon?
We've done that once. We don't need to do it again. I don't need another funeral for an Archon, okay?
Although they technically... I say technically, they did it for like 2 minutes with Venti, and then Venti's like, hey, so this is what an Archon is, and guess what? It's my super secret identity.
Yeah, but that was your first, like, foray into
I
Archon.
decided to trust you because you're cool.
Heck yeah.
Also, you're a traveler, which means you're an outside force, which means I can use you to my bane.
Yes.
Apple?
Thank you. But you can say, here's your Archon. Here's your overworked female character, because there's one of those in every country for some reason. It just, you know, here's your, Electro character that runs everything in the background.
And is in love with the overworked female character.
Here's your pretty boy character. Here's your this, right? There's a bunch of stereotypes that they seem to be following.
Are you saying that Zhao is a pretty boy?
An emo pretty boy, yes. Like, at least in back to like the original topic.
Oh yeah, that thing that we were on about.
At least giving us an idea of the people. I mean, it's not like MiHoYo gives us NPCs that don't look generic, right?
Yeah.
So anyone you see walking down the street that has even a splash of color that isn't in like normal NPC garb for whatever region they're supposed to be from, you know they're gonna come with you.
Yeah.
So you're not pulling any surprises. It's not a shock that this person is going to have this weapon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a shock that this person has this type of vision. You can look at their clothes.
To be fair, I think Seiyu with a claymore was a bit of a shock.
Yeah, but I don't think meeting her character in the storyline versus seeing a picture of her would have really changed
No, it
that
wouldn't.
shock factor.
It definitely wouldn't, but I mean, it was a shock to be like, oh yeah, ninja, silent, tiny, that's gotta be some, like, sword, bow, and they're like, no, it's a giant claymore.
Ha!
The most stealthy weapon of them all.
I don't know what you're talking about. Diluc is the most stealthiest character in the game.
Yep, no one has any idea that he's the Dark Knight.
Who? Who?
Who knows?
But I think something like that. Something where they just say, here's a region's characters. And maybe even giving out some, if they know the region after that. Like, one region they give you, here's these characters and possibly their visions and weapons. And then next region after that, here's just the characters. And then you just update it.
Yeah.
In that cycle.
I mean, even if they just gave, like, the outlines of the characters in black, like, you don't know what they look like, you just see the outlines of the character art, and you're just like, ooh, because that would get people speculating.
Isn't that what they do with Smash?
Is it?
I thought so, and, like, all the trailers for Smash, they're like, ooh, look at this. And then they show up. No, you know what I'm actually thinking of? Who's that Pokemon?
Who's that vision holder?
That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know where Smash came from, but... yeah, sure, just give us a who's that Pokemon of...
It's Xiao! Worthless!
Just, you know, he just keeps saying worthless.
Because the Pokemon says their, like, little catchphrase thing, so...
Usually they say their name, though.
Yeah, but that's because that's what the Pokemon say.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
So Xiao's catchphrase is worthless.
Does that mean Venti's catchphrase is let's play? And then because it's Pokemon and they say it multiple times, it's just let's play, let's play. Just, you know, really anything.
Yeah.
To give us some sort of idea of what to expect.
Mm.
From coming characters, and even if they decide to do a new weapon type, say they decide to take Tartaglia's stuff and make it an actual weapon type. So now we have Twin Blades in the game. You don't have to necessarily tell us that right away. Especially because most people would probably just sit there and go, oh look, it's Tartaglia again.
They're doing another Tartaglia rerun. They're really just trying to get people to get them.
They really want people to like Tartaglia.
They're like, listen, we put a lot of work into figuring out how to get this E to work. Please buy him.
Until they give him a plunging attack, I'm not going to get another one.
That's Constellation 3.
Is it? Damn. No, it's actually Constellation 7. I drew it in with crayon. But it's... But we're completely off topic here with this one. I don't know. I do find that graph interesting in that it's
mountains.
It is mountains.
Dragon
it's
spine.
dragon spine. It's a very crudely drawn dragon spine, and I love it.
Thank you, my artistic skills.
I don't like the dips, but you know that's just because that means I didn't get anything. No, no, not every patch is gonna have a mountain of freemogems.
I mean the highest top one was for the Lantern Ray Festival, which obviously had a lot of things from it because everything was giving you Primogems. The only thing that didn't was Theater Mechanicus. It's on the wiki, it didn't give it to you that time.
Oh. I thought the challenges did, but... That was around the time when I was starting to get my 90s.
Oh, yeah.
So, I wasn't really doing a whole lot for pulling during that time, because I was getting my 90s together.
I mean, I could be wrong, they could have given you stuff, but it was... Based off what I saw on the wiki, in the comments, someone was like, why didn't you give us Primogems? And someone else was like, everything else does in this event.
Sounds like a good enough source to me. Yeah, I think it was about that time when I was getting my 90s, so I wasn't doing a whole lot in the way of pulling, so what was giving me Primogems and what wasn't giving me Primogems, I wasn't paying attention to.
Yeah.
I really just wanted that name card. So I could flaunt it, 5 years down the line.
You can flaunt it to who?
The characters that I get 5 years from now.
Okay.
Toma.
Toma, I played this game called Theater Mechanicus. Yeah, I know, it's here too. But I played it first, Toma.
I got that one too, Toma. Do you?
No, actually, I didn't get that one, I don't think. I didn't care enough. Because when am I going to use the name cards realistically? Like, I'm just going to use the friendship points once.
I am emotionally attached to my name cards. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. My name card and my icon. I'm just emotionally attached. And even when I change them for bits, it doesn't work.
2 days later, it's back to delete
Not
Kaya
even
combo.
2 days! Not even 2 days. It was like the next minute I could do it.
You're like, haha, so funny, already changing it.
Yes.
Tears streaming down your face for the betrayal.
Please don't hate me. You should come home again.
You'll never pull me again. Kaya, no!
And
And you haven't pulled him since.
God, you're right.
That's why you can't get your C3 Kaya.
No, Kaya, no. Oh no. There we go. There we go. Whew, there we go. That was close.
That's true. I told you to pick a character that represents you, and you came in with Venti and not Kaya.
Okay, that's not my fault. I was playing as Venti before I turned it off earlier today.
Yeah.
And then I came to your world, and I was going to switch to Kaya, but then you put Kaya on your front lawn.
I forgot about that. I really didn't know he was there when I invited you.
So you were practically just asking me to be distracted.
I also assumed that you'd have spawned in next to me inside the house.
No.
It's been so long since we visited each other's homes, because there's no point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can't put you in my home to hide you, to kidnap you.
Sorry, what? Alright, I think that's a good little podcast type thing of us talking about why the brick walls that MiHoYo is making and the fact that we've seen them and we're scared of them, they loom.
I think you mean we rambled for about the things for what, an hour, 2 hours?
I think we made some very intelligent points at some points, and then I wanted to show this graphic that I worked on, and then we just lost the beat because the graphic had nothing to do with the song.
We lost the plot somewhere along the lines.
Well, thank you for showing up to this. I don't have a name for this. Tirmel talk!
Why is it called Tirmel Talk? I'm the only one you're gonna talk with right now.
Because I'm talking and it's my channel name. Do you want to call it Azura Talks?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought!
Okay, well, thank you for having me on your channel, and I hope I haven't offended your audience of...
It's okay, if you do, I'll be the one to deal with it and I'll cry.
Oh.
So, don't leave any bad comments.
I don't want you to cry. If you don't like me, just leave a frowny face.
Don't leave a frowny face. I will not attack, but I will be very offended if people are mean to my sister.
Okay. If you don't like me, leave a smiley face, and we'll just know what it means.
If you don't like her, then just leave the video. How did you get this far?
That's true, that is true. If you're still watching this and you didn't like me being here, why did you listen? Out of spite? It's just a spite view now.
Oh, I didn't like this person.
Alright, well, yeah, thank you for having me.